I'll go do like a show a night, and then this motherfucker would come in and he's like, I have 3 shows every night this week.
Yo, welcome to Slightly Smoking Livestream. I'm your host, Jack Murdoch, and today's guest is Magix Dre. Magix Dre. He's a local magician here in LA. Great magician, full-time worker. I've seen his work. You can check him out too after this.
What up?
There you are.
How you doing?
Excellent, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, morning, sunlight. It's all
I'm
good.
just waking up for this stuff too. It's like the only reason why I get up.
Yeah, that's we need that though, you know. I think you need something to just like keep you from going insane.
Yeah, you gotta have some sort of purpose, or I was just gonna sleep and eat and drink.
Which is not a bad life, also.
No, I mean, we need a little bit of that. As long as we're breathing and eating, I think that's all we really need.
Yeah,
But now we have more purpose here. And this
for
is awesome,
sure.
finally getting to meet up with you and chat with you virtually.
Yeah, man.
And I know
It's
we've
great.
known each other probably just through like the Insta-webs.
Yeah.
Through,
The
I don't know,
intranet.
internet, white Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool, man. It's a pleasure having you on here. I know you're a great worker. I've known you through also Laurel and Tam. You guys have the trio,
Yeah,
Magic Trio.
we did
And
a trio stuff a while back.
yeah, and I've just heard your name around just in the magic community. So let's
Oh,
dive
cool.
right in. Why don't you give us a little origin story, backstory of how you got into magic?
Yeah, so my name is Dre, stage name Dre Magix. I got into magic pretty interesting. I later found out later on in my life I found out my grandfather did a little bit of magic, and we would watch the old like World's Greatest Magic specials or whatever. But that was just like that at the time, and then I got into college, and I made my way through like I paid my way through college playing pro poker
No way.
online.
Really?
Yeah, so it paid
Online?
for tuition, it paid for rent, and I treated it like it was a job, you know. So
That's awesome.
that was pretty good for a while, but then they made it illegal to play poker online,
Yeah.
um, because they couldn't really tax it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I took
Dang,
all
so
my
you were
money
right on it
out.
before they did that, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wow.
I was playing for about like 1 or 2 years before that. Um, and I took all my money out, and then my buddy
Were you
Greg,
into
who
magic at
now
the same time at that time?
no, no, no. I was just like I always had cards in
Cool.
my hand. I was like card games and like just gambling. Vegas, you know, that life. And then my buddy Greg, he was a junior member at the castle. He works for NASA now, which is like crazy. He's like trying to be an astronaut.
Huh.
But yeah, he showed me a few tricks and like it just stuck. I booked my first gig and like just ran with it, you know?
That's cool though, that you were actually into gambling. Like you played poker. You know, a lot of magicians they get into magic and they don't know anything about card games. I mean,
Right,
I'm
right.
for one instant that like I couldn't even shuffle a deck of cards when I got into magic.
Hmm.
I remember my mom like she would play cards and she knew the riffle shuffle, the
The
waterfall. And I was
bridge.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
you gotta show me that now because I don't know how
Yeah.
to do this stuff.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that was a good advantage for me because I already knew how to do like the basic riffle and bridge, right? Um, but everything else was just like I had to learn it like everyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at least you had the
Yeah.
concept too of like cards and how they work. Because that's another thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to play cards, so I went after I got into Magic. I learned how to play poker, you know, blackjack,
Mm.
I go all the card games. I'm still picking up
Yeah.
card games just to
Yeah.
know because it's like, why else should we be playing with these? You know?
Right, right. That's pretty cool because you just named one of my favorite card games in the world, Pai Gow.
Pai yeah.
That's my game, dude. In Vegas, I'll just
That's
play Pai Gow
yeah,
for
same.
hours.
When I go to the casino, I play Pai and blackjack. That's usually
Bro,
safe.
we gotta go. We gotta go and do a Pai Gow session.
Yeah, you know, I go a lot to, well, it's been a long time, but Ocean's 11 down like Oceanside.
We gotta play whenever. I'll go to Magic Live when it opens back up, and we'll play in
Right? Oh
Vegas.
no, this year is not happening.
It's not. It's not. Yeah. Um, crazy Pai Gow story. I know it's about magic, but crazy Pai Gow
Yeah.
story. Dude, I was playing Pai Gow the last time I was in Vegas was like November. And you know how they have the progressive jackpots or whatever?
Yeah.
I was there playing in the morning. And I like to watch it go up because it's like a man can dream, right?
Right.
And then so it was like at 5 million or some shit. And then I watched it drop down to zero, like that. And then someone was just like, yes, someone hit it, like at another casino.
Oh
I was like,
wow.
oh, why am I
Oh
even playing
no.
right now?
So close. So was your friend
Anyways,
what age were you that you got introduced to magic?
21, so pretty late. I mean,
Well, I was around the same time. I was like 19. So,
oh, cool.
but I think there's an advantage to that. And I've seen a lot of good advantages of people that get into magic later. Because
Yeah,
you're more developed. You kind of know who
right,
you
right.
are.
Yeah, and also like how your body works, and you have the discipline to do it. Like if you really want to do it at that age, then you're gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time to start. I think I used to think too. I started at 18, 19, and I thought I
Yeah.
was too late because I remember joining the junior membership
Mm,
like at the
like right
castle,
at the
and I
cut.
see these other kids, and I'm like, okay, these guys
Yeah.
are like prodigies. But it was humbling and also very encouraging. So you said it was a first a card trick you saw that got you really hooked?
Yeah, it was I don't even know the name of it. It's this color change, this thing.
The shake chains. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, the shake change.
No,
And I
no,
was just like, it looks so much like magic that I'm like, yeah, I have to learn now.
right? Became
Yeah.
obsessed.
Yeah.
So where did you go to learn? Did you look up online? Did you read books? Where'd you?
I yeah, I was thankful enough that I grew up in magic. I grew up right at the peak of the illusionist era.
Yeah.
So they were putting out like this is what I mean, like Penguin's pretty big now, but like when it was a powerhouse like thing, it was just Penguin and Illusionist, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I picked up Born to Perform,
Nice.
and
It's Perlman.
yeah, dude. And I think that I still think to this day that's one of the best beginner card magic DVDs out there.
Honestly, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I even got it too. I remember the first trick I learned was like, and I still probably the most performed trick I do is Biddle trick.
Oh,
I
dude,
love
same.
it.
Biddle trick. Like I learned everything on that DVD, honestly.
It's good. No, and he's a
Yeah.
good teacher. I mean, I
Yeah.
actually I just recommended one of our buddies who joined with us. His name's Austin for Slightly Smoking Team.
Oh,
And
cool.
he doesn't do magic, but he's really fascinated with it, and we recommended
Yeah.
that. Born to
Yeah,
Perform.
dude. Oh, it's such a good
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, Penguin Illusionist. I remember that was the first things I saw too. I remember Illusionist probably, the first trick I saw, I was just like, what? And I was just getting into magic, and I really wanted to know. And it was Wayne Houchin's Sinful, this coin and
Yeah, yeah.
sealed soda can. I remember seeing that trailer over and over. I'm like, it's
Yeah,
just
it's crazy because like there's a point in your magic career, and it's pretty early on where you're confident enough to reverse engineer stuff, right? And I'm just like, yo, why do I know how this works already? And it's because like with time you've seen so much stuff and body placements and certain things like that,
right.
and then it just clicks, and then like, oh yeah, I'm a magician now, right? I can like be confident in calling myself a magician.
I know it's fun now, like, and it's kind of interesting. And also, sometimes I wish I didn't know in some cases because I want to keep the
Hmm.
magic. But a
Oh,
lot
for
of
sure.
cases, I'll be like, oh, I could just watch that video over and over, and I kind of basically know it all without having
Yeah,
to pick it up. And I
yeah.
know a lot of magicians actually started off that way. They would watch videos, even trailers,
Mm,
over and over again, and they would never learn it. They would literally just watch by learning and try to make up their own methods. And sometimes they
for
make up their
sure.
own methods, and sometimes they're right on point with the method of the creator.
Yeah, I think for myself also, there comes to a point where I would see a thing and I would go, I know how that's done, and then I do it, but it's not the method at all. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
just end up in like just in inventing a new method for myself, right? Like I know, for example, gypsy thread, right?
Mm.
And like I don't know if we're allowed to methodize things, but the thing, I'm gonna try and be cryptic. You know how the thing is in the middle of the thing?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought the thing was in the beginning of the thing. And so when I do it, and then you break off in the original method, you break off the front end, right? Those are the chop, 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 chop in the front end, right? My method is the things at the beginning and then I chop, chop, chop in the middle. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know if
you
that was
forgot it.
clear.
Yeah, you forgot your own method into the madness.
Right, right. But I don't know if like that explanation is clear enough. It sounded stupid coming out of my mouth. Whatever.
No,
Um,
I think I know what you mean. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I mean,
Cool,
I know
cool.
mostly this is for magicians, but we have a few laymen, so we kind of can be a little open. And
Okay,
I
cool.
know we've exposed a little bit talking about certain methods and tricks,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, so feel free. But yeah, I know at the same time we like to keep the secret. And if people have questions, though, you could always DM us or contact us
Yeah,
one
hit
way or
me up.
another.
I am very open policy about my magic in terms of like if there's something I do and it's mine to give away, you can have it.
You know what's really cool around this time is you're seeing a lot more people like that. Well, I'm seeing more people kind of open up and sharing a lot of what they've
Hmm.
been holding on so much, and I think that's really cool.
Yes.
So,
Um, do you use mnemonic a lot? You know what? I am
Vanessa,
not that disciplined.
I just started. I just practiced it. Only last week. I finally got it memorized after.
Cool.
Actually, it took a couple 3 days,
Nice.
and what really helped, I highly recommend. Rick Lax has a version of Monica that helps you memorize it just easier. He just has
Mm,
like all the work with the mnemonics put together. So you just got to
yeah,
remember
yeah.
like the odd picture and the number.
Mm,
And yeah, it made it so much easier because I have the book and
right.
like the DVD, and I just watched it and I just never put in the time. Now that
I
we have
feel
all this
you.
time in the world, I'm like,
Now
all right,
that we have infinite time.
basically.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
still, I went and looked at it and I didn't quite hook. And then my
Mm,
friend James, who I had on here a couple weeks ago, recommended Rick Lax's, and I'm like, all right, I'll look
check
into
it
it.
out. Yeah.
And I highly recommend it because it just made
That's
it so much.
awesome.
Always, it was something for me. I've known for now like 10 years in the magic community and seeing guys do it. I was just blown away.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do with it, and I was like, I'm not gonna put the time in. Now, yeah, it's a good time.
I tend to not go for that style of magic very often. Um, virtual magic shows. I'll do one if you hit me up. I don't like them, but if the people want it, I'll do it.
Yeah,
But
actually,
yeah, I'm not.
yeah, I know there's all sorts of virtual magic shows just beginning now. The game's on.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because like I don't like performing virtual magic shows. You know, um,
It's
and
tough. I've done a couple, and it's very weird. And I
yeah,
realized
and
that you definitely have to like practice doing it for a camera and
for
kind of for
sure,
yourself. It's like the weirdest form of practice because you're kind of
right?
going backwards. Before
Yeah,
all this, I was like practicing, in front of a mirror, in front of a wall, maybe in front of a camera, and then I need the real practice in front of a person. And
mm,
now it's like we go digress, and it's like, oh, we're going back to the camera now. Now I can't have your hands involved, but so I got to use something else.
right. Yeah,
and,
I
and the
feel that.
framework too is this kind of box, and yeah, there's lots of pros and cons to it. And I'm still learning how to adapt a lot of things because I've realized that
Right.
I guess I do a lot of crotch magic. What the hell,
Oh,
So I'm
dude,
trying to
yeah,
figure out this
same.
up here.
Um, yeah, I think for me, and as I grow in magic, I'm getting to the point where um, I I'm allowed to say things aren't for me. You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, when you start off, there's like you want to be the sponge, right? You want to be like, oh, I like everything. I like, but then at this point, I think I feel empowered when I can be like, oh, I don't have to do a virtual magic show if I don't want to because number one, this thing's not gonna last forever. I mean, yes, it's bad, but COVID's not gonna last forever. Let's just
Yeah.
face it. And also, I can spend my time being creative in other ways in Magic, right? Like, I don't have to keep doing the same virtual show in essence where I can like prepare a live show when the time's right. Like, I can write a whole new whatever concept. I can freaking write a book on Magic if I wanted to, right? Like, there's so
Yeah.
many other things. What up, Jay? There's so many other things that people can do creatively in COVID, in the quarantine, that they don't have to shoehorn like an like the easiest idea, right? Because I'm a friends with a lot of stand-up comics like Jay, who just jumped on, and they're doing a lot of comedy shows, which is fine, but our art form
A little different.
lends it. It's very different because we're and I've always said it. We're not performing for people. We're performing with people, right? We feed off of that energy. We feed off of even their direct like action, right? So in that sense, I'm not. Thanks, man. Uh, in that essence, I'm not willing to compromise that form of my act. You know what I mean? Like everyone else is fair game. Like y'all are welcome to do it. It's just not for me.
Yeah. So what have you been
Yeah.
doing throughout this time? I know you've been doing some live streams too and hanging out.
Yeah,
It'll all be on yours soon.
right, for sure. So I do the morning show, but that's honestly just to like not. It's for me to not go crazy. It's
Yeah. It's
it's
kind of
just
the
a
same reason.
conversation. Yeah, for sure. And it's just nice to like talk to someone and see a face talking back at you.
Right.
Uh,
Totally.
I've I've written two full shows, like two
Awesome.
hour long shows. Yeah, because
That's good.
before this, yeah, I was booked for a comedy festival and they wanted an hour. So I wrote that like my show for the rest of my life that I just keep. You know how people have that? It's like, oh, their show, and then they just keep editing that shit out.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I so I wrote that, and then I do a duo act with Masato. I don't
Oh,
know if you,
sweet. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Masato's awesome. Yeah.
cool, yeah. Also, if any of you guys want to be on my show after Jack, just DM me. I don't care. I'll meet like a stranger and talk to you. It's like that loose format. It's
Yeah, that's
Instagram
magic,
Live.
man.
It's yeah, man. Um, but yeah, what have you been up to like during this, other than this like podcast show?
Yeah, doing this live stream has been awesome. I've been just kind of revamping the slightly smoking stuff with my other business partner, Jordan, and
What up,
working on new
Masato?
designs. So
Dope,
I've been
man.
working on a lot
Dude,
of
we should do
artwork.
if you're down, we should do a swap. I have so me and Masato are releasing our line on Monday,
Oh, sweet.
and it's very geared towards streetwear. It's like very basic. Like this is the like shirt,
Spade Club. Yeah, yeah.
big club with the logo. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Um, but yeah, I'll like send you some shit. I'll
Yeah,
send you like
that's
a thing
so
and whatever
we
you want.
usually, because I remember talking to you before, you're like, oh, you have a screen printing on this. I'm like, no, I wish I
Yeah,
had a screen printing. Oh, we
yeah,
used to like a third party, but I'm actually going to I'm revamping like the logo and all that,
yeah.
and I just want to get a black shirts, white
Mm.
shirts, and print them out. And I'm gonna give them out to people because it's like that's the one thing I don't have is the actual product to give out to people. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, you get
dude.
online and get this.
Well, I
Um,
don't know if you want to look into this because I'm not using. I sold my shirt equipment, so I sold all my shirt stuff to build this like studio where I can shoot videos and stuff. Um, and then I'm using a website that will print by order and it'll send to people when they
right.
put in their order.
Right. Yeah, that's
So
what we use like Shopify and stuff like that.
yeah, but they'll actually. So I don't have to hold any inventory.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll send
That's
you the
that's
catalog and
yeah, I was gonna say that's what we use too. It's just that's the
for
other
sure.
part though, is like, man, having that inventory though for certain times, which is we've realized like
Oh, for
kind of
sure.
need.
Like for live shows and stuff.
I mean, I had
Yeah.
some, but not I've had. I mean, because we started this probably 4 years ago, and then we
Right.
took like a 2 year hiatus. And then we're like, now we have all this time. We're like, well, let's start it up
Yeah.
again because
Oh,
online
for
is
sure, dude.
where it's at.
And also, like, I think right now the Magic inspired wear is like garbage.
Yeah,
There's like nothing good out there.
there's not too much on it. Like that's kind of why we hopped on board because we noticed there really wasn't much. There wasn't
Yeah.
anything before us, to be honest. There was like, you only had like Penguin and thing they would produce,
Oh no.
or like the printed spade on the shirt or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I think it'll be good. Yeah, so I'll send you a catalog. Just pick something you like and I'll send it. I'll get it out to you.
Oh, that's
It'll be
sweet,
dope.
man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I
No,
got
I
you.
can't wait. As soon as I get all these, because I have a screen printer dude that's a friend of mine that will eventually help me, and then we're gonna
Hmm.
just hand out a lot of them, and I'll be thinking of you too.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, looking forward to
Yeah,
this.
dude, what else?
Guys.
Magic. Uh, I I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you stuff. Am I allowed to ask you stuff? Is this
Sure.
how
I
your
mean,
show
yeah,
works?
it's an open
What
it's an
would
open live.
what would you do to improve the world of Magic as of now?
As of now, I think this is it. For me, I feel like connecting with people is
Right.
magic. It's like that's my number one definition of magic is connection for myself, and I think also for many others, and especially in this time. But even before, I'm super, thankful for this time because now I'm able to chat with you. I'm able to chat with like hundreds of other magicians that I've never gotten to chat with. So I'm like sharing and
Hmm.
gaining wisdom, and I think that's the coolest thing. I
What's
think
up?
it's really upgrading like the level of magic, and I noticed that. I've noticed a lot of guys
Yeah.
get really more passionate and inspired, and this whole part of evolution and adaptation is really what life's about. So to see that is
Hmm.
really cool. I feel like it's gonna level up after all this stuff
For
is done
sure.
with.
I think, yeah, so I was never really growing up in like my Magic youth or whatever the fuck. I I didn't really gravitate towards meeting a lot of magicians and like meeting like getting into the community.
Yeah,
Um, because I knew I didn't want that to influence who I am, like as an artist. Because
right.
like I've suffered under that. Like I would go to the castle like twice a week for like 3 months, and I would just like want to do certain things based on what I saw, right? But I think, and that's when I took a big break. I was a member for a while, and I took a break, and I'm still not a member right now. It's crazy.
I
But
kind of went on the same boat, yeah, with you.
yeah,
I actually almost got turned off of Magic completely because of the
same,
castle.
same.
I know a lot of
Yeah.
guys have the same story. It's too bad because it is a tough field to get into, or once you're into it, you realize, holy crap, there's a lot of egocentric,
Oh yeah, for sure.
pretentious people in this.
And I think that takes away from who you are. Like you got to start from who you are, I think. You know what I mean? Um, you learn the skills and you learn all that stuff, and then you find out who you are as a person, and then translate that into your magic, which I think is like the strongest form of being a performer.
Yeah.
Um, can you guys say how the castle works? Can anyone get them? From what I understand, you pay a lot of money every year and you audition. Well, reverse that. You audition and then you pay a lot of money every year, and then you get in. They remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congrats.
Usually got like a 5-minute act you got to put in, and
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully you get in. And if you have good enough skills, you should be able to. Because I've seen some guys that aren't so good and they're members. I'll be surprised.
Oh, I can name names of that, but I'm not. I'm not going to. That's fucked up. Um, but here's the thing too. Like, there are good things about the castle, right? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
um, I think the biggest thing is using it as a tool to network. But the culture is a little. It's a little. It's not for me. I've been distant because I've had my reasons for being distant. Um, which is where I found, this other side community of cool guys that like just like magic and like bringing that experience, right?
Yeah.
Um, And honestly, and I don't mean to be biased, dog, I think buskers are like the coolest magicians. You know what I mean?
True.
Because
No,
like,
honestly, that's what got me back in the magic because I left
yeah.
it from the castle. I got a little burned from it, and it
Hmm.
was just a lot of drama. And I was like, wow, I'm not about this.
Mm,
And it was just like a hobby for me too. At the time, I wasn't even taking it as a
right.
career. And I took a break, and I saw a busker in San Diego. I saw Jimmy Talks a lot. And that was the
Okay.
first guy I saw that did magic on the street that wasn't like David Blaine or Chris Angel. I'm like, this is real
No,
street magic. And I was like,
it's
what
real street
is
magic. Yeah.
this? And I,
Yeah,
and I,
dude.
and I talked to him after that, and I just got hooked, and I just went down that rabbit hole, you know? So there's all these like
Busking's the
subgenres of
hardest
magic.
form of magic. It's so crazy.
It really is. And there's nothing more real or raw than
Yeah.
that, you know?
And I
Or
think you
live.
can, yeah, so it's crazy because like I was busking also, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, we would
The
go
New
out.
Orleans
It was,
buskers are the best, yes. I love it.
hey,
And were
which is
you
really nice.
always based in LA? Where you from?
I was born in the Philippines, and then I moved to Carson, which is like near Long Beach,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
and I do all my work. Before COVID, I taught magic, in the OC, and then I do all my shows in LA. So it's like I'm everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, busking. I think busking is the reason why I'm good. Like before busking, I was not. I was okay, right? I was doing shows. I was okay. Busking made me. It makes you quick. It makes you like. It sharpens you so much, dude. It's so crazy. Like I do these open mics and I do these shows for community and stuff. Um, and in LA, I do a lot of like the Asian community, right? Because there's a bunch of like Asian open mics and stuff, and just
Yeah.
like poetry open mics. Everyone's like, "How do you get like that?" And I do, dude, go on the street
The
for a
street.
summer, and you will fucking Super Saiyan up. Really though, you know what I mean? And you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, it's true. You know, yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely sucked too before the streets, and I sucked on the streets, but I got a lot better
And
because
it's
you have that platform to practice, and with
yeah,
so many strangers, it's a great platform because you work with all the different people of all sorts of the world. You know, because usually go to touristy areas, so you're
that's
gonna come across all sorts of random people.
what's the best tip for busking. Don't be scared to do it, and just do
Go
it.
out and do it.
Um, if you want like technical tips, learn how to construct a dope hat line. If you need help, I mean, DM me, DM Jack. I'm sure he's like welcome to help you.
Yeah.
Um, but yo, I okay. So two things with busking for me was like I learned, hello, my name is Dre, and I learned how to count to three in like five more languages than I already knew because I would go, "Where are you from?" They would say X, Y, and Z, and then I would speak to them in their language.
Not
I
full
would just say
effect.
hello,
Yeah.
and then they want to stay already. You know what I mean? Um, they'd be like, "Oh, where are you from?" And they're like they're from Saudi, and oh, marhaban, it's me, Andre, right? And they would just like, and then, oh, now he's good, right?
Yeah, and that makes it much
Um,
more personalized and they instantly connect, you know.
for sure. Rope on the ground is great. I used this big ass yellow chain I found at Home Depot and just like made my circle. Um, but also busking,
Take your dog.
yeah, there's this moment I had with busking where it was very fight or flight, and I remember it vividly because I felt there was probably 100 people out just walking by me. I was set up. At that point, it was like I've never felt so alone, like crippling fear of like no
Yeah,
one's gonna like this.
it can be scary, I know. I mean, I still would get
Yeah,
scared.
for sure. But then like if you face that enough, you get used to it, and then you overcome it, right? Um, and this has I don't know if this yeah it does. I I read this thing where humans, like human males, are more scared of jumping out of a a plane, or they're more scared of talking to women than jumping out of a plane because
or like that's that old saying of like people are afraid to talk on like in front of hundreds of people, like public speaking.
right
That's one of the biggest
right
fears.
yeah, and they say it because of that is because they face it indirectly so often in their life. But if they were to actually just jump in, it would they'd get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just
Um,
like jumping in cold water. It's like it's scary,
yeah,
and then
for
if you
sure.
just do it, you're like you're fine, and you've done it.
Dude, I've done some stupid shit to try and get crowds, man. I
Yeah, what's one of
I
the
fucking
stupidest things you've done?
I had okay, I didn't know how to metal bend at all, right? But I carried a spoon and I would throw it like a couple feet in front of me and I would just be like, "Look at the spoon. Look at the spoon." And then like someone would look at the spoon and I'd be like, "Sir, can you bring me the spoon?" And then like that would be my crowd getter. It
Yeah,
was
you
just
could basically
weird.
you could do anything. That's what I found out too. It's like it's really just building that spectacle, and you
Yeah,
don't
it
have to
was a
do anything.
weird
It's just
time.
that weirdness, right?
It was a weird time in my life for sure. Um, what do you do now to get your crowds?
I just tell them, "Hey, stop right there. I'm about to start. I'm really good at this stuff."
Oh,
You know,
dope. That's awesome.
I just
That's a
demand them.
great.
Sometimes I still play around with different
Oh
things,
yeah,
but usually just demand them to like, "Hey, stop right here.
I
Hold
feel you.
this." Yeah, I do use a rope too to make my edge. I
Yeah.
used to use a table. I got rid of my table. I only work out of a bag now.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
because I was just getting tired of carrying the table all the time
Mm,
and then wanting to take a
yeah,
break and then I have to close that down, go to the bathroom or go
yeah,
get lunch. It was just
I
a
feel you.
hassle. So now I just throw it in the bag, pull it out, and it's just a lot easier. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a different time coming back into it too, which is it's going to be, I think it's funny. I talked to Alec Kazan,
Yeah,
Alec
yeah.
Blanc, I don't know him.
Shout out to
He was
Alex,
saying,
New York.
yeah. He was saying that Buskin's going to have a huge comeback after this because I've been
I
telling
think so.
asking a lot of magicians like, what are your predictions of
Yeah.
how magic will be after all this?
Dude,
So what do you think?
listen,
What do you think about magic is going to
this
be
is
like after
this is
this?
I've thought so much about this because that's the way I am. I try and predict like consumer culture.
Yeah, I knew you were about to
Um,
listen.
yeah. No, I'm just like trying to be a businessman out here, man. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so here it's gonna come in three waves, right? This is my like big genius revelation for after this. It's gonna
Oh
come
man.
in three waves.
All right, we're all
Ready?
listening.
If also take advantage of this if you're listening, because
Right notes.
if you win, then we all win, right? So quarantine's gonna happen, and then there's gonna be a residual period where everyone's still afraid to go out. Fair.
Yeah.
That's gonna last 2 weeks. Honestly, it's gonna last 2 weeks tops. First wave is gonna be the restaurant industry, right? If you're into food, you're gonna fucking have so much business. Also, YouTube is gonna
Restaurant
take a
bar.
hit because no one's creating good YouTube right now anyway. Um, Restaurant business and bars are gonna take a massive spike, but also not just the popular ones. I think um, okay, so there's like what area you're in the OC? You're in LA?
Yeah, I'm in LA right now, but OC, yeah, LA, OC.
Okay. So like you know the like brand or like the big sushi spot, right? Let's say it's like the sushi spot that makes fucking like how much a month, like millions of dollars or whatever. That's always gonna go good. But now that there's gonna be a maximum occupancy that's gonna be lowered, not only now even harder for card to mouth. Yeah, for
I
sure.
know. I
um,
thought about that,
not
man.
not
They
only
lost that.
no, it's you put it in a COVID bag and give it out. That's the
Yeah,
move, right?
quarantine. I was thinking about like a hazmat bag.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so not only is Jack's sushi spot gonna has always been doing good and it's gonna, but also like Dre's mini sushi spot near Jack's is gonna also do good because people just want to go out, right? They're not gonna want to wait 3 hours for a table, but like Dre's sushi spot's open and it's smaller and the food's just as good. That's gonna get a lot of business. So that's wave one, right? Food. Wave two, I think, is gonna be live entertainment. Live entertainment's gonna make a big thing. Like,
Yeah, like the
if you're a
movie.
busker, dude, movies, but also like, yo, busking. That's why I wrote two shows. Like, I'm trying to put these on. Like, um,
Yeah.
live shows are gonna make a comeback. I think if, oh man, if you want to work on me with this, and this is just an idea that came to me, I want to bring vaudeville, like vaudeville vibes to a show.
Dude, yeah, I know, right? I think it is a time. I mean, we're coming, like, think of 100 years ago, like, vaudeville was
Yeah,
big. I think vaudeville is
yeah,
coming back again.
yeah. So I think that's gonna be big, and then the third is gonna be products. Products are gonna People are gonna have money to spend on products again. That's why I'm trying to set up and release the like shirt line soon. Um,
Yeah.
like my merch, I'm gonna big up on my merch, but I think those are the three major waves that I'm trying to take advantage on is the food, live entertainment, and then I think when people are gonna start coming back and watching YouTube again, it's gonna be around the products area because whoever's creating is gonna take that time of the first two waves to start creating more stuff, and they're gonna start releasing good, like better YouTube stuff later. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
No, that gets me excited. I think so too. I think a lot of things, I mean, right now we are isolated. And here's a funny play on words that I was speaking with some people, like isolation, right? Think of that word.
Yeah.
Ice solution. And what happens to water when it freezes?
Let them melt, dude.
It expands. So
Yeah.
right now we're like actually expanding inside, I think. And we're doing a
Yeah,
lot of
for sure.
self-reflection, a lot of like
Hmm.
deep inner work, whether that's doing nothing, because nothing is something, because a lot of times we've been on this busy spinning world and we've never slowed down. Now
Right,
we're
dude. The
here
power to
to,
do nothing is so powerful.
it really is.
It's so
And
strong,
we
yeah.
don't have to do anything.
Yeah, for sure.
And then once you really go to that place, like I've been in like doing a lot of deep meditations throughout this time, but once you
Mm.
go to that deep place of doing nothing, then you really know what you want to do, and then you'll be doing
Yeah.
that something that you really want to do out of just being, you know. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times we're just doing and we're not thinking, and we're thinking and doing, but we're not really thinking what's right. You know, we're just thinking of what society has been telling us what to do this whole time. You know, go out, make
Yeah.
money, go out, make money.
No, for sure. A lot of my artist friends have kind of been freaking out and like talking to me about I feel like shit because I don't want to create right now, you know? And I
Yeah,
tell
that's
them
okay.
like
I know, I've heard that too.
I'm like that's a valid feeling, but also like do whatever the fuck you want to do. You know what I mean? Like right now the world is on a breakup. It's exactly what that is. Like the
Yeah.
world is on a breakup and it's on pause. And it's that
Uh-huh.
mourning period of when they don't want to do anything, but you have all the time in the world, you know? Which is
Right.
fine. Like honestly, because this is my thing, right? Before quarantine, I hustled so hard. Whoa, Nathan
So,
Franzo. Nice. Um, Here's the thing, before quarantine, I hustled so hard. No one fucking knows me in Magic or in the public eye yet. Like, I have to get to the point where I can get there in order to survive, right?
yeah.
Um, so I would just be doing gigs and stuff. But honestly, right now, you have to kind of have this idea that you can hustle as much as you want, but is that allowing you to live your life, right? Like, there's no point in grinding and doing shows 18 hours a day when you can't sit in the sun for 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I
So,
think we are finding more of a purpose to do what we want to do rather than
yeah,
like what you said, because we're just doing it for the sake of like mostly money. And it's like, that's not really
right,
why we want to be living on this earth.
right.
I know we need it to get to places. Um, so I think it's really reworking our mindset. And I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited to once this is all over.
I think in terms of magic, because all art is empathy, right?
Hmm.
Art is empathy in the sense that you have to try and connect with someone as fast as you can, right?
Yeah.
But I think with magic, it's like a version of hyper empathy where it's like, yeah, I have to connect with you, but I also have to know what you know in order to break the world you live in. So there's so many things to like handle that to be good at it, you gotta know who you are.
And a lot of people, we don't really even know who we are, you know?
Right, dude. Like,
And that's the hardest part. I always mention that, like, a lot of the greatest artists in the world, they always say the hardest thing to do is to be who you are and produce art that represents you. Like, Bruce Lee says that a lot, too. And it's like, what? This
oh,
guy's
dude,
awesome.
you got my heart now. You just got my heart with the Bruce Lee.
Yeah, but he
Yeah,
mentions that a lot. It's like the hardest thing is to be true. And it's like, yeah, I
no.
mean, to express that trueness, too, and to be you.
I think that comes from like his journey also, right? Because if you imagine Asian guy in white Hollywood, he
Yeah.
had no other choice but to know who he was because everyone told him who he was,
Right?
right? Oh, you're Asian guy, you're Chinese, whatever. But it's like, I think that's how he grew to be the strongest version of himself
Yeah.
is through that like diverse form of aloneness. I don't know. That's a
Yeah,
weird
and no, that's good
concept.
what you said because people they a lot in any area, a family to any
Yeah,
business, whatever, they come in and they tell you who you are. Is
yeah.
that really who you are? You
Dude,
accept that?
it's so crazy. My mom, at one point, she said, "Why don't you just be a stand-up comic?" And I'm like, "That's the same shit. Like, it's they don't make money either." Yeah.
No, mad respect though for stand-up comics. Like that's
Oh, for sure,
yeah, that's tough. I know. I see it. I have so much respect when I see just the guy with the microphone.
dude. I have
How
I
cool
have
is that?
friends, dude. I have friends that are in stand-up, and they out hustle me by miles, right? Like, I'll go do like a show a night, and then this motherfucker would come in and he's like, I have 3 shows every night this week. And I'm
Dang.
like, dude, I'm tired, man. I gotta like, I don't want to do it. I
Yeah.
went on tour. I went on tour with a comic friend of mine, and we
Oh, cool.
did, and he was, yeah, so we did Seattle and Portland.
Oh, right on. That must have been fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And then he gave me this tour schedule. He's like, all right, we're gonna be out for 14 days, 2 weeks. We have 16 shows. And I'm like, 16 shows, but that means one night is gonna have more than one show. He's like, yeah, it's like not a problem. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. And it was like, man, this was like mad hustle. But it was good, things like that make you like super strong.
Yeah, it pushes you, and in the
Yeah.
beginning, you gotta just take a lot of those opportunities. I mean, all the time, take the opportunities. I
Yeah.
find out, I realize, like looking back in the time I've had before the isolation, is like, man, I wish I took more opportunities. Like I really
Oh
hold
yeah.
back a lot, and
Yeah.
it's like, why?
Same.
I love doing this stuff. Why am I holding back on what I love?
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, for sure. There are a bunch of regrets that I have now that I can't do them anymore.
Right? Yeah.
Um,
A lot of people are going through that. They're like, damn it.
yeah, it's all regret and like promises, right?
Yeah, which is a great
Yeah,
lesson
dude,
because now we're gonna come out of this being like, oh no, I'm going to take that opportunity and doing this and
for
doing that.
sure, for sure. Um, yeah. So what are things that like you're gonna start doing? You feel?
Me? Oh, I mean, honestly, so I go out like, yeah, I'm a full-time magician,
Yeah,
and when I meet people, I don't always do magic. I just like to meet people normally as a regular human being.
yeah.
Uh, but I'll always be ready to show magic. You know, I'm always
Hmm.
ready. I'm always like, maybe I'll be prepared for something, or even we'll set up a trick. I'll set up a card or something,
For
and just
sure.
be way ahead. And a lot of times I never do it. I just wait for that opportunity. You know, I don't
Yeah,
create the opportunity as much.
yeah.
And now I think I'm going to create more of that opportunity because I know
That's
we could do
interesting.
that. You know, why not do that? Because that's what I love to do. So that's what I
Right.
think for myself is like, yeah, I've held back way too much and not taken too many chances. So yeah, I'm here to take more chances
That's interesting. Huh.
because then that opens up more doors. Because I
Oh
look at
yeah,
it
for
as
sure.
like I never went through that door. I never jumped through
Yeah.
that window.
Yeah,
It's like, no,
for sure.
I'd like to. So, and experimenting more. I think also
Yeah,
I've limited myself, which
for sure.
has its pros and cons. But I think we're unlimitless. We shouldn't like say
Oh yeah,
this or that way. I understand for
right.
like a character aspect, like I'm not going to do any levitations where I'm floating or something because I just limit that, because I don't want to be
Yeah,
that
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Uh,
Right, when I was 12, making $50 an hour. Nice.
but yeah.
That's way more than I was making when I was 12.
But how about you? What are
Uh,
you gonna do? What do you get? What's the first thing you're gonna want to really do?
in order to grow, I think I'm trying to open myself up to more of the magic community now that I like fully know who I am. Here's a big thing. I want to try and take up more space in the world in terms of being okay with taking up space, right? Because like so many times, especially if you grow up in an environment where you're taught to kind of just be under the radar and like, blend, just the simple act of like, oh, like getting out of a lot of like dodging a lot of people, whatever it is, I think being okay with taking up space in the world and like being comfortable with who you are is a big part of my growth. If I see someone like from hella far away, I would like already move, you know? But I think just like being comfortable with like occupying the space that I'm in is a
Yeah,
big thing.
and being yourself. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
that's
think
that's good.
yeah, and I listen, our art form is we basically make our own rules, right? The world is like, oh, this is how I work. And then our like sad group of people are just like, no, 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 we can make it look like it doesn't work like that, right? That's the
Yeah,
nature of magic, right? That's the nature
that's
of
so dumb.
magic. But if you had the power to do that, and this is a question I've recently asked myself, if I had the power to do that and act like the rules of the world didn't apply to me, what kind of version of myself would I become? Yeah,
Right.
what kind of version of myself would I really become? Because I know, and I've seen some magicians, not naming names, but their version of that means they can be an elevated human of society, which is how they wanted to play that, right? Like, I'm their version of it is, oh, I know things and I know secrets, aka I'm better than everyone else. That's how they chose to play that, right? But I know if, for example, my ideal version of Dre in a world where only Dre knew, or if Dre was a had real powers, that would be the most comfortable version of myself, right? I wouldn't have to be so on edge where I can just like sit and like be comfortable and just know whatever happens that I can handle it. You know what I mean? It's a comfort in knowing that you have power to change things.
Oh yeah, I was gonna
I'm
say that's like true magic though. Really, what you're talking about. I
Yeah,
think.
and I think
Uh,
um, that's how I'm gonna change the image of a magician if I choose to do that. There's some guys that you look at, and here we can name names. There's some guys you look at and you're like, man, it must be fucking dope to hang out with you. Because you feel their confidence because they're confident, right?
that's portraying. Yeah.
And not through like, and my favorite magician of all time, Daniel Garcia, right? You
Yeah.
see him and you're like, fuck, man, what a cool hang. And so I think that's the best version of my magic self is I'm using too many words. If you were unstoppable, how would you proceed in life, right? Because knowing magic means you're kind of unstoppable, right? Knowing that I had that much power and not having to use it, I think, is what would give me so much comfort.
No,
I don't
that's
know,
good.
that got kind of deep,
I
but
really like what you said. I think that reminds me too. When I got into magic, I look at guys like Daniel Garcia and Wayne Houchin,
hmm
and they're totally approachable guys, and they're cool,
yeah,
and they're down to earth. They're not up here.
hmm
I really admire that, and I think always the best magicians are the ones that are very approachable and super cool and friendly. I remember in the castle one
Hey,
time,
Amy.
James Randi was walking by, and I'm like, whoa! And
Oh no.
he was touring around showing some guests, and I was in the seance
hmm
room, and he wanted to show off some of the Houdini stuff. And
Yeah.
he was such a cool, gentleman, witty old man. He walks in, he's only like, 4 foot tall, and
Hmm.
like Yoda, super
Yeah.
witty and cool, and like talks to
What a
us, and
proud
like
for
has
you.
a little conversation. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy's super. This is James Randi, and he's super cool.
Right.
And that's what I really admire in any big time entertainment person, whatever they are. If they're famous or whatnot, they're still down to earth and they're humble. To be humble, really, and
Yeah.
to not be afraid of being yourself. Like you were saying, how you want to have more space for yourself. I think that's a beautiful
For
thing.
sure.
I think I've done the same thing where I care way too much about what people think,
Same. I've been there.
I've wasted so much of my energy with that care. Now
You
I'm
get
kind of
tired, man.
coming into myself where I'm like, I don't want to. You gotta have a balance, you gotta
Yeah.
care and not care. But
Yeah.
I remember I cared too much, and I really hurt myself from caring too much about what people think.
Yeah.
And it's not a healthy route to go, to be such a PP, a people pleaser.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, it's like unproductive. You get nothing done.
It's true. It's crazy. It's crazy how much I was like that. And I'm only noticing this now after I just turned 30, I'm like, man.
Dude, I'm right there with you. I'm 33. Um, but yeah, in terms of like meeting people, I think so. There's like two big things that are like I consider, oh, they're like things that I do. Whenever I meet someone famous, I ask them, oh, you're gonna ask them for a photo. Um, but I always ask them like, hey, can we take a photo like we're best friends? So I do that, and then because I meet a lot of people during shows, and I'm like shit with names, and like faces. So there's a lot of times where people go, oh, we've met already, right? And I go, oh shit, I'm so like, was I nice to you when we met? Because I think that's what matters to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that's what's very good about the castle is that there are legends walking around, and then you can see how they are without being on sometimes.
Right.
Um, I met Cyril Takayama, right?
Cyril,
And
yeah. I met him there
I
too.
fucking
Cool.
look up to Cyril like crazy. But I met him in like the weirdest way. Um,
At the castle
so
or where?
yeah, so it was the castle, right? And I just got out of the bathroom,
In
and
the bathroom, you
and
meet
then
him?
no, it's crazy because I just got out, and he was coming up, and I didn't think he was gonna go into the bathroom, but I was like, "Hey, Cyril, I'm like a big fan," and I shook my hand. We shook hands, and then he goes, "Oh, it's great to meet you, but I really got to use the restroom." And I was like, "Yeah, man, do your thing, whatever." And then I walked away, and I'm like, "Shit, my hands were still damp from washing my hands going out of the bathroom." And he must think that was the grossest thing. So, Cyril, if you're ever gonna watch this, I'm sorry.
No, I know. We're just fangirling when we see that. Those
Yeah,
idols of magic. Well, anyways, I know we have about a minute and a half. It's going to cut us off. I know this
cool,
hour went
cool.
by
No
so
worries.
fast. It's been such a
Yeah,
great talk, man.
for sure,
Uh,
dude.
I want to thank you so much for being here with me. And
Oh,
also,
anytime,
do you
dude.
have any last parting advice for our viewers?
You know what? Don't put pressure on yourself to do anything, and find out what makes you happy and do that shit. You only get 100 years, man. You know?
Maybe.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much for having me, dude.
Check him out, guys. Magix Dre. Dre
Yeah,
Magix.
Dre Magix. And then
Thanks.
watch out for the Spade Club stuff coming
And
out on
Spade Club.
Monday.
I'll be looking on
All
board.
right,
All right,
slightly
thanks, man.
smoking. Take it easy. Stay safe.
And thanks again, guys, for tuning in. It's been my pleasure to have Dre here and every day to do this. Until next time, I'll see you tomorrow. You guys check out our site for now. Get some new magic apparel, streetwear, slightlysmoking.com.